And another weekend, another dollar, another day. Down a couple tiles, but nevertheless, the three musketeers will go forward. Ride or die. So Athletics LLC, another fun week. We'll definitely have a couple interesting topics, I think, that we'll go sound off on. But nonetheless, Clyde, how are you tonight?
Hey, it's almost convention season.
I need Thanksgiving first. I think I say that every year. You say that, and then I say I think I need Thanksgiving first every time. That's funny. No, it is. It's gonna be fun. I forgot, Governor, are you
We're not
going?
going to the snow.
We are not going to snow. I remember though, I said I hated Orlando and I never go back. I'm actually going back.
Yeah, Orlando's not awesome, but we're not going to the snow.
That's very true. Governor, are you going? I don't remember if you've answered this or
I don't think so. Let's stay tuned.
not. Stay tuned. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because this year, I mean, I'm going this year, so that part, but I don't know if our two other cohorts are going to go. So a live filming may not be the thing.
I believe Lucius may
Well, he has
grace
to be there
us.
for the Bowerman,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I wonder if
So
he'll go any earlier. So we'll see. We'll see. Governor, how are you tonight?
pretty good. Getting ready to kick off the festivities next week. It's that time of year. Folks are stressed. So, you're just trying to find that happy medium at the track every day. And, this is that tricky period now where you say, all right, do you want to throw away 3 months of training? Then have at it.
Yep.
So,
Well, and then so I feel like all of our calendars are somewhat the same. We go home, they go home, quote unquote, next week or whatever that means. It's unorganized training. I'm just gonna call it that.
Next week, girl, what you talking about?
When do you go on
You
break?
talking about Thanksgiving? Okay.
Thanksgiving,
yeah.
yes. Oh, I was like,
Yes.
whoa.
I'm gonna say
um,
no. What do you mean?
so and I don't know about your guys' calendars. Our calendar, our break starts on Monday or Friday night at 10 p.m. So they get the whole week out. And
Yeah,
then
no,
No.
no.
oh yeah,
That's
so we do. And then we come back for 3 days and then we have dead days followed by finals. So
Wow.
essentially, like we're done after Friday. I mean, we have 3 days of training, but after that, it's voluntary. So, not to say that we don't train, but it's all voluntary, not voluntold. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're probably off by a couple days. I mean, we train until Wednesday, um, and then they're gone until Monday, and then they have that whole week, and then we go into exams the following week. So we literally have,
8 days.
7 days maybe of
Mm-hmm.
instruction
Training.
before timeout,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
if school's in session, we training.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Oh man. Well, nonetheless, uh, sometimes we need the break. Sometimes I'm scared for the break. So, I think I think we all share that same sentiment at the same time at a different moment.
The break is
Yeah.
So,
always shenanigans. Nothing good happens on the break.
yeah.
Nothing. Nothing.
Oh goodness. Well, all right. So let's go to a brighter light for a moment. Um, we are now basically 3 months removed from the Olympics. The dust is settled. We've seen the aftermath and we've seen kind of things happen after that. What has been what is our greatest takeaway now that the Olympics is completely over? I think my
Wow.
answer has changed since the Olympics has officially ended to because I've taken a step back and I think my greatest takeaway is the new regime is coming.
A
Like
new era of track
new
and
era,
field.
yeah, let's say a bit, yeah, new era.
She's basically changing of the guard, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
So I think
And
we'll see a
where
lot of new
where
faces.
have you where would you say that this is across the board?
To an extent, yeah. I think we've got new names, new players. Maybe they didn't win this year, but in the coming years, whether it's world champs, whether it's, LA 28, whatever it might be, I think we're going to have more new, the ratio of new to or old, not familiar, older names is going to be greater.
Well, let's expand on that. I feel, to your point, that we're seeing more and more young champions. I think we're seeing more and more young athletes that are somehow figuring out
Hmm.
how to win at this level. Like just barely removed from U20 or even,
Yeah.
just starting U23s and have stepped into the ring and are performing at a very, very high level. Um,
Uh-huh.
and those of us that have been around the sport for decades would say that in by and large, there was some seasoning that had to happen, before you even thought about winning at the Olympics. And I remember, I don't know, it's probably 2 decades ago, you had to be somewhere between 25, 28, after having some trials and tribulations and you've gone through the ups and downs. And then finally, you figure out how to keep things on a level. Your training is on point. You start to figure out, you start to understand your competitors, and you're going in there with a clear mind, and then you have your moment, right? And then it's a matter of how much you can hold on after that. I think this new generation is like, we ain't waiting that long.
Yeah. That'll take too long.
We want it now. So yeah, that's a very good observation.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I guess my biggest takeaway is the sport is more competitively global than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Um, Across the board, right? Like the old stereotypes just don't hold anymore. Like
Hmm.
only the Africans can run distance. Nope, not anymore.
Not anymore.
The Africans can't sprint. Nope, not
Mm-hmm.
anymore. Right? So
There's more parity.
much more parity across the globe. And ultimately, I think, that makes our sport more dynamic and more exciting and more interesting for all. You don't want it to be America versus the world. And in this current environment, it really isn't that, because there's so many high quality athletes from across the globe. Now, as Americans sitting in America, consuming the sport through the American lens, obviously we're going to be American centric, and that's the bulk of our conversation. Just like, we like to complain that world athletics is Eurocentric, right? But they're sitting in Europe through the Euro lens. So, I think that the parity across the globe, across all events, um, makes our sport really, really exciting and creates more opportunity for more interesting narratives. And I think um, if those that tell our stories can become more creative and have a more expansive mindset while telling said stories, there's so much more there that's going, ignored. And that was a big takeaway for me also from the Olympics, because I did not travel to Paris. I sat in America and watched the the American broadcast of the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, depending on which way you chose to consume that. If you watched the Olympics through the main portals on Peacock or through the main television feeds, it was purely an American cast, as it should be, because that's where we're sitting. But if you watched the Peacock just coverage, the one that John Anderson and them were on, it was much more global conversation. And they talked about a more variety of, the athletes involved. And for me, that's the way I prefer to consume it. So biggest takeaway, yeah, the global parity.
So having been, having had an athlete that was trying to get to Paris, and understanding the qualifying process, what I learned is that in a sense, it is actually easier to make it to the Olympics now. And if you are savvy enough, if you have an agent that has really good relationships with, and it doesn't have to be about going to any of the major meets at all. It's really about, can you figure out the point system? Can you figure out what you're going to need, when you're going to need it? And can you go there and execute? It is actually easier, in my opinion, to make it to the Olympics now than it used to be. And inside of that, I feel like the qualifying process has become a lot like the NCAA process. Because, for my athlete that I was coaching, he ended up they took 36 triple jumpers.
Yeah.
And he ended up 37.
Oof.
Okay. Now, in terms of what he did this year to get to the 37th position, it really wasn't that much. It really wasn't. He didn't have to jump, 17 meters all the time. He didn't have to, he just had to be steady, right? And he had to place, and he had to get those points competing against his peers,
Right.
And literally it came down to his national meet. Right. And the athletes that he was fighting for that last spot did better at their national meet than he did.
That's crazy.
It's
That's
crazy.
So much,
it really
so
is.
like it.
So as I was saying, I mean, it's quite unique now. What you take the USA system out of it, where if you don't compete on that day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have the points or not. You go through any other country that has a system where, let's just say you have to show up to their nationals, right? It's still a matter of, well, if you have the points to go, we're going to take you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's where I think the process has changed quite a bit, and so I think it should be encouraging for the little man on the totem pole, if, in terms of, achieving their dream, it is possible.
Yeah.
It's not an impossible dream anymore. Even with this limited field, if you know what you're doing, you can get there.
That's true. Very true.
I think a sub takeaway for me too is, looking at the warm-up field, looking at the names that are talking about the names that are competing. There's a lot of cross-pollination going on. Like, you're not just from your country coaching your athletes anymore. It's not just the Americans who are going. There's other countries going to other countries now as well. So I think that's becoming evident, and that's attributing to the change of the the makeup,
Changing of the guard.
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like, I mean, we keep talking about how Botswana and the 4x4.
Mm-hmm.
Botswana and the 4x4 is one of my favorite things from the Olympics. Like that was awesome.
Like, I
Yeah.
wish I would have recorded their practices, or not recorded like because of what they were doing, but just how they were moving
Mm-hmm.
and just how they worked as a unit. Like knowing that they made the four, or how they finished the 4x4,
Mm-hmm.
it just shows to the unity of it and why it does make a difference, and why you can't just put a different 4x4 out there the whole entire time.
Yeah.
Like it was so crazy to watch. It was very, very cool to watch. So I think in
I
seeing
mean,
that,
would we say that this is one of the better representations that Africa has ever had
Oh,
in
it's
the
the best one.
Olympics?
It's not
You
close.
see what I'm
It's the best
saying?
one.
So why is that? You know, what's changed? You know?
Coaching education is global now,
Mm-hmm.
is spreading. There are more quality people, more smart people doing a better job of learning what the hell to do with these talents. Um, I think that's the biggest take for that of the why. And if you're in a country like Botswana, and this is now an avenue for you to make the life that you want to make.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what the number one sport in Botswana is, but if it's not our sport, it probably is now,
Mm-hmm.
given all this success. I mean, think like Botswana was this close from breaking a world record in the
Yes.
sport.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
damn the gold medal. They were
yeah,
almost the greatest ever.
I'd love
That's
to know what the
mind.
African record was before they shattered it. Because I know they shattered it.
Oh
mhm.
yeah,
Well, and so they outsource coaching too.
Mm.
sure.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of attributes that went to it, development alike and coaching alike, and talent, but that's it's there's some pretty key takeaways um to be
Now,
noted.
now, here's something that, like really kind of came home to me um, when they created that mini panel at the Olympic trials. And they had Rye, they had Holloway.
Yeah,
They're all, I don't know why, I'm trying to figure out why they had them, but they were all just kind of there, you know. What stuck out to me is there is now a a group of leaders, a dominant group of men, right, that are now leading the charge, the next wave for 2028. And I think by and large, like what we were watching, I remember just watching the ebb and flow, and it was like, okay, somebody's got to step up. Somebody's got to step up. And then Grant does his thing, Rye does his thing. Like it was like, don't worry about it, we got this.
Yeah.
You
Been
remember
there.
the yeah, you remember
And
they were talking about how successful the woman had been throughout the whole championships,
hmm
in terms of winning medals, winning gold medals. And the men were just like, and then coming down to those last couple of days, it was like, boop, boop, boop. Hey, don't
yeah,
worry about, not Christian, shot putter. Um,
Ryan Krauser.
yeah, Ryan Krauser included, you know, this the dependable ones. We have dependables,
Yeah.
you know. And that became, and so it again, there's a direct line between the NCAA, mentality, that yeah, we are a team when it boils down to it. And we are aware of the noise and how the expectations of that US squad and what they were able to do. I mean, you put Rye on anchor leg. I mean, I can go back and watch that anchor leg and it still gives me chills.
Mm.
I mean, it was pretty phenomenal.
Well, I think those are great takeaways, and even and 3 months later, like we can actually say them. It's not as emotional or reactionary per se. So, all right. So we took some what we thought were educated guesses to what the location for Grand Slam track was going to be, and they said, "Nah." We
Hmm.
heard a couple of rumors, so we're not going to go ahead and let or the who was it? What federate was it? The United Kingdom Federation was like, "Yeah, no."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start right off taking issue with the way we're phrasing that because our guesses were educated and they were based on the information
Mm-hmm.
that Grand Slam Track had put out initially, which
Mm-hmm.
said 2 American meets
Yep.
and 2 meets quote
International.
overseas.
Right.
And I feel like the original overseas were Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And now where we have landed is 1 meet in the Caribbean
Mm-hmm.
and 3 meets in America. Now, I can look at this one of two ways. As an American, through the American lens, I can be very happy that we get 3 of what should be pretty awesome competitions on our home soil. I can be happy for LA, Miami, and Philadelphia. But that's not me. That is not who I am. I when I saw these announcements, my brain instantly went to, what just happened here? Because it is obvious that GST wanted a a meet in the UK, be it
Mm-hmm.
London or Birmingham, and they were rejected, passed. Whichever angle you want to take, there's no meet in Europe. And I hope that doesn't mean negative things for Grand Slam track, but it's not a good pop off. Also, and should we get ready for the comments? I'm sorry, I'm not. Listen, my name is on the wall of fame at Penn. I love the Penn relays, or at least what it used to be. Having this type of level of competition on that goofy track is not sexy. It's just not. And you can't sell me on the nostalgia of that space. That space is not nostalgic unless you're talking about Penn relays. Otherwise, it's just the meat on a goofy track. When the Ivy championships are there and you watch it on TV, it looks goofy, feels goofy. So I don't know how they're gonna dress that one up. I know they're trying to sell the mystique of Penn, but this ain't Penn. And so I'm not feeling that one, even though I know all the East Coast people are jazzed about it. Cool, whatever. Yeah. So the fact that none of this is going to take place in Europe, I think is a negative hit to Grand Slam track before we even see anything go off. And we're all hoping that this goes well. So to start off with them having to PR their way, spin their way into their first major announcements doesn't feel great. And I hope they don't ultimately suffer for it.
Yeah, it was interesting that the organizers in England made sure they put out their PR on as to why they were not going to host. And the first thought that came to my mind was the format. And and you know, essentially you have an unknown entity, right? You have this new model of this new tour, or with its own set of rules and code of conduct in terms of athletes competing twice on 2 different days and stuff like that, going head to head. And any major institution, any major facility with a swell of following and fan base, they're probably at this point, they're probably quite unsure as to whether this is viable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the venues and the final, decision in terms of the venues and also the dates,
Yeah.
from April through June, a couple things come to mind. Obviously, this is a trial run, right? Because there's no other way to do a trial run than to do a trial run. This is what it is. We're starting out at smaller venues. We're starting out at lesser known venues. We're picking, you're talking Kingston, Jamaica, Miami, Philadelphia, and LA. Okay. So major cities, yes. Track following?
Mhm.
I feel like,
None of the Americans.
You know what I'm
No.
saying?
and not in the area per se,
Mm-hmm.
but track followers will
Yes.
follow to those tracks.
Right. So how are they going to, if this is made for TV and it's going to be a production, like it's hard enough to organize a meet on one day, but to do it for 2 days and not expect there to be a thinning out of the crowd, where, once the schedules are set, I mean, do you think people are going to want to watch Sid in the 4 hurdles, or are they going to want to watch Sid in the quarter? Right? Like they're going to. So you're basically giving up at 2 days, right? You're basically to watch a track meet.
And let's be clear. Like, I think we all agree that LA and Miami are good, weather track and field choices.
Yes,
But those are the two literally most distracted cities in the
yes,
country.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah. So it's going to be a tall order. There's no question about it. Um, I'm intrigued. I'm absolutely intrigued to see how this all goes off. Um, and then the timing, clearly, if there was negotiation between the GST organizers and the athletes, this looks to me like, hey, this is our early season openers. We are going to, get our bearings. We're going to come off of, our winter training. I mean, how many of those athletes are going to be running indoors? Probably not much. So they're kicking off their season and they're using Grand Slam track to get things going because they need to be ready for the circuit in July, going into USA's, and then August and September. So it serves a purpose, in my opinion, to kick off your season and make some money, essentially.
oh, listen, we're not, assuming that the money they've been contracted to pay and have been offered to get via racing, assuming that all that money is stable, they're all gonna get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And that ultimately was like the point, right?
Yeah.
Is this going to be better for the athletes to get paid? Assuming all the money flows the way it's supposed to, the answer to that is undoubtedly yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't pay them what you're claiming you're going to pay them and then have the product flop
Yeah.
because you won't, the people that have put the money in to be able to pay them won't keep doing it.
Yeah.
So people better show up.
Yeah.
Better show up.
Did you see where it'll be broadcast?
I actually did not see that. I missed that.
Yeah. I I'd seen it. So it'll be a 3-hour broadcast window.
Okay.
And let's see. I remember seeing it. I dare say it was YouTube.
Yeah.
No, that let me confirm that. Because with NBC getting out of the game, with Peacock getting out of the game, I mean, let's see here. It has the website up. Yeah, when I find it, I'll
It is. I see a channel.
There's an actual channel.
Yeah, Grand Slam track channel.
But I mean, like a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, you know what? I'm not educated enough in that space to probably have a
Yeah.
full opinion. But I mean, anybody can broadcast something on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, again, I don't know if that's net good or net bad but it's not on television.
Not that I can see.
Mm.
I mean, you know, I'm disappointed that ESPN wouldn't, you know, put that on.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
and the thing about it is, I mean, in April, May, and June, they're going to have open spots. I mean, the American Track League has proven that.
Right.
I was gonna say, where's
So,
Paul?
no, well, so to the point that this ain't Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Doyle got ATL on TV.
Right. Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
Multiple times, over and over again. And it was solid, I'll
Yeah.
say. Right? It was a solid production. You know, some of the meets didn't look awesome given the venues, but the production value was always solid. It was entertaining. You know, it was a good product. So this, by all PR measures, is supposed to be a far superior product.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can't get it on TV. That's
That's
I don't
I
know.
don't see. Yeah, I don't see where it is right now, but that's okay too. So yeah, Grand Slam track. You beat us this time. But we'll do better next time. All right. So with 10 days left in the month, we will encounter December. And we, interestingly enough, fell upon this topic of, you know, the governor said, does NCAA not realize what December means to us? Verbatim. Tried to do the tone. Didn't quite get the tone, but
Oh
so
man.
elaborate on the thought, please.
Well, it's both confounding, but at the same time, it's fiscally it's a fiscal issue, right? One school gets out unless you have the wherewithal to pay athletes to stay here and train to get ready for the season. It's almost impossible for you to tell or mandate that these athletes stay around for 3 to 4 weeks, right? Now, every university has a different system, different way of enticing or rewarding athletes for coming back early. Some schools I've heard January 1, you need to be back here, or January 2nd at the latest. And
January 2nd.
And whether it's a week before the first competition or 2 weeks before the competition, there's somehow, some way you're going to facilitate those athletes, in terms of nourishment, in terms of making sure they have the facilities available to them and all of that. But with all that being said, we are the only sport, am I correct, that does not see our athletes or does not coach our athletes for a month, potentially,
In the middle
before the season starts. Like
No.
it's the elephant that we all see in the room every single year. And it doesn't matter, whether you have an athlete that is committed to their craft and you don't have any worries about whether they're going to take care of business, for however long you don't see them. The bottom line is you don't see them, right? So there's always that measure of caution. There's always that measure of, okay, who is going to show up come January, once we mandate that you need to be back here for practice here. It's fraught with peril. I mean, there's no way around it, right? The odds are they're not going to get the adequate therapy, right? For the ones that go hard in the paint, right? Is that necessarily a good thing? If they have bad habits and they keep reinforcing those bad habits, and then they come back and 3 months of work that you did, you're just going, oh my goodness. All right. You're back to reaching for the board again. Like
Right.
things like that. Right. So we as coaches, there are multiple emotions that we go through, knowing, and it comes down to each individual, right? It comes down to some individual and what kind of messages are you giving your athletes? I mean, for some, I'm like, hey, try and find a weight room and get in there at least twice a week. Just keep your strength levels up, right?
Yeah.
Others, they might live in cold weather countries. They don't have access to a proper track. And I'm just like, yeah, can you get on a bike? Can you, we have to maintain something, and it is the same rigmarole that we go through year after year after year. And it runs right into a season that's over within 6 weeks.
Yep. And it's critical in its first debut.
Absolutely. And so
because if you don't have a mark, you can't get into every meet after.
Exactly. Yeah. So, first meet comes around. Kid X is clearly out of shape. And I'm going to take you and I'm going to put you up against the nation's best. Really? Am I trying to prove a point? Am I trying to embarrass you? Or is it clear to me that this ain't happening? And you make that decision and it's like, we're going to take this week to week. We might not compete until conference, and they're looking at you cross-eyed like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, do you realize conference is less than a month away? Do you realize that? Like those are the things the challenges that we have. And it's no wonder that for most coaches, indoor is a training period, right? It's not a time to peak. It's not a time to, all right, let's get things down to the fine details. No.
Yeah.
You don't have time. You don't have, that amount of time to get the reps in. And again, unless you compete week after week after week after week after week, and you're going all the way through to a conference, how much training are you losing? How much, money are you actually putting in the bank? Because for every competition, that means they're going to be at least 2 days rest. So how much work are you getting in? Right? And that's the challenge I think every coach has. Um, the top coaches with the trainers and all of that, they probably don't think of it that much because they're just going hard. They're going hard every week. We're getting on the plane and we're going to go line up. That's just what it is. For others that don't have the resources and the proper therapy and that sort of thing, it's like playing jump rope. You're just like, do I wanna do I wanna jump into the fire just yet? I don't know. You know, what really matters? What pays the bills? Conference pays the bills,
Hmm.
right? And if I have someone that's capable of making it to nationals, then I'm going to be making sure that kid is being brought along bit by bit. But it's something that, we don't discuss. I don't think we talk about enough because we're all in it. We're all in the same boat, right? And some coaches deal with it better than others. But for me, you kind of, for me, I kind of take the approach that chances are you're probably not going to do half of what I sent you home to do. So
There it is.
my expectations are minimal. When you get back, I'm not expecting much, you
Yeah,
know?
surprised me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. And, with funding and what we're coming into the next year with the new rev share and the lawsuit, like how that's going to affect people coming back, if it
Hmm.
affects people coming back. Um,
Oh yeah.
those,
I mean, and then there's the dead period.
hmm And
Yeah.
then I was going to say, and then there's the dead period of which, you know,
Well, let's be clear. As eloquently as the governor painted that very grim and ridiculous picture, it's actually worse than that because
yeah,
indoor season starts in December.
Yeah.
It's there are meets that will have gone on. Hell, if you're an elite distance runner, you have probably already knocked out your NCAA qualifying mark before December happens. Because they all gonna come off these cross country championships. They're gonna go up to Boston. They're gonna
Hmm.
drop their time and go on break.
Hmm.
They do it every year. So indoor season is in full swing when we get divorced from our teams for
Right.
a mandated 3 weeks if you're
Yes.
lucky,
If you're lucky.
12 weeks for some programs in Division One.
yeah,
Hmm.
Like it's bad.
Yeah.
Um, I don't actually know how, anybody gets away with this other than to say, it's another one of those examples where our sport is not prioritized by the
Right.
NCAA or by your own campuses. And, it's cool that you don't see your team for a month and a half. Like, figure it out, coach. It's fine.
right.
You
But
know,
don't lose. But don't
yeah,
lose.
I've had a few jobs in my time. I will not shoot at any one specific job, but I will share a story. Um, since the governor brought up, the return to play date. Um, some people, New Year's Day, a few days after, right? So I was employed by School X one time, and they asked me for, what day our team was coming back, and I said January 3rd. And everybody in the room looked at me like I had four, noses. And I'm like, what do you mean? Coach, why are they coming back so early? I'm like, bro, we have a meet 6 days after that. Like, what are you talking about? I gave y'all the schedule 3 months ago. And they're like, oh yeah. Can they come back the day before? I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Would you ask Team X
Hmm.
come back from vacation the day before they have to kick or shoot a ball? No, you would not. That
Oh
is
man.
ridiculous. And it's more dangerous that you're asking us to do that. So, no, we will not be coming back the day before. We will be coming back 7 days before and hope that nobody gets damaged based on whatever shenanigans they were or were not doing for the
Right.
past 3 weeks.
Right. Right.
So no, this is a, and depending on where you work, like, you know, if your humans live off campus, then at least you don't have to, incur the charges to house them on campus.
That's right. Right.
But you still gotta feed them,
Oh
right?
man.
And listen, I've been at places where we're in the office making life decisions. Like, yeah, I want to bring Kareem back, and I'm cool with giving him per diem, but Kareem lives on campus, and nah, he ain't that good. Like, he got to come back later. Like, it is what it is.
Oh
So,
man.
when you are in a budgetary restriction land,
That's right.
you may have a roster of 40 kids, and 20 of them you may not see till February. So
Mhm.
you got to make some real decisions around here.
Mhm.
Oh man. I
You know
forgot
what's
about that.
crazy?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the first campus that I've worked at that we don't have to pay for break housing.
Oh, really?
I don't even understand why you listen. Housing on college campuses is a whole racket unto itself. The only
Oh,
the only worst
absolutely.
racket is parking. Okay, parking is just
Yes.
criminal. But
Yes.
if I am paying for Kareem to live on campus already, why am I
Uh-huh.
encouraging extra charges for him to go in and out of his room when there's no one on campus? That don't make
Yeah.
any sense to me at all. I
Hmm.
already paid the bill. So it's a whole racket.
So you're bringing some memories back in terms of like when campus would just completely vacate
Just go dead.
Yeah.
and I would have to go find a roommate off campus or find a
Mhm.
teammate like literally left to my own devices to go hang out for a couple of weeks because
Yeah.
going home for Christmas sometimes wasn't part of the equation. I couldn't do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
right? So, I mean, most people got in a car and drove home. I had to get on a plane and go back to the islands. Like,
Uh-huh. It's
you
not a
know,
$200 flight.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So, that's it's something that I mean, we will probably never have a viable solution for it. Um, because of, that I mean, literally our situation here at UTSA, where the majority of our kids live in apartments, that is that has become a saving grace for any kid that decides to stick around,
Exactly. Yeah. They just
right?
bump out.
But for the typical college experience where you're on campus in a dorm, oh man,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's
Call
awful.
it quits. Yep.
It's awful.
Oh,
So,
you out there, you want to save budget money, get them off campus.
that's right. So the other part of it is this dead period. Okay. Now, why do you think the NCAA has implemented a 3 week long dead period in December?
I
Because they want to
think
go on vacation and not do paperwork.
but they're going to put it on us and they're going to ensure that we get a break and rest
Right,
before the season. That's what they're going to tell us.
right. So let's put this into context. We now have a window that opened up what today?
Which part,
Portal
what are you
portal
referring to?
window?
Or it went a
Yes.
couple days ago.
Yes. And that goes through December what?
Isn't it 45 days?
I think it's a bit shorter in December.
I don't 40
Um,
something like that. Let's see.
yeah, here it is. So the cross portal window is the 23rd through December 22nd.
No, okay. So a month.
The dead period starts what? The 9th?
December 9th.
Okay. Do you see
Yeah.
where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So
You're
essentially
in the portal for
for
14 days
13 days,
for nothing.
Zoom calls,
Hmm.
you're making a pitch.
Hmm.
You're hoping campus is still open. You're hoping that, you can get these transcripts in. You essentially have maybe 2 weeks. You know,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it is really a wild situation, in my opinion. You know, that you still have a job to do. And if
Yes.
and if there's a kid that could help this team that is actually interested in your, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you try to facilitate that kid? Like, who's gonna tell, sorry, man, I'm on a dead period, man. Sorry,
Yeah.
we can't get you in. My head coach has to meet you face to face before he makes a decision. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? I mean, and that's the part it's quite oxymoronic, and it defeats the purpose. I am all for vacation. Yes, I get it. Yes, we have to take a break. We have to, yeah, but there's still mechanisms in place that tell us that there's still a job to do all the way until the 22nd. I mean, that's what's, I have a hard time kind of wrapping my head around.
I've always found it funny that it's, and maybe it's just the way it's explained to me. Is it actually called the cross country portal opening? Because everybody can go, right? It ain't just
Yeah.
the
No, I
distance
don't
runners
think
that get
it's
to get in.
I don't think
Hmm.
it's that because it would have been after Saturday then. It has to be
Right.
after their championship. They haven't had it yet. So well, I guess its first round happened.
Yeah. It's just every situation that we run into in this sport is so dictated by where you are,
Hmm.
who you work for. Because I promise you, there is Coach X right now scouring the portal,
Hmm.
sending the emails, got a little bit of mouthpiece, gets Kareem on the phone.
Hmm.
Hey, coach, I really like what you're talking about. I'm super interested. When can I come on the visit? Get the visit set up.
Yep.
Comes to the campus. And then someone in the compliance office is like, yeah, we don't have time to, what are you talking about? The rules say we have time. I don't want to hear
Hmm.
about no
Mhm.
campus issue or no office issue. I'm
That's right.
already dealing with this crazy time crunch and y'all are messing with my mental health. You want me
Hmm.
to go on vacation? No, I'm trying to get my work done.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
And there's other places like you can call them an hour before the deadline shut off. Be like, yeah, put them in. Well, what class?
Mhm.
Don't worry about the classes. Put them in. We'll
Just
figure it out.
we'll figure it out.
Oh no, yeah, done it.
Yeah. And that's,
Hmm.
and your level of success is dictated by so many people that you don't even actually work with directly.
This is
And
true.
that is the worst part about the, you know, the winter time or the winter dead period.
Hmm.
I mean, the fact of the matter is I've worked at a place where I could get kids in 10 days after school started.
Mhm.
It's true.
Yeah.
God
And I've worked
bless.
at other
Yes, it
places
is.
where I can't even ask the question while the period is open.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
it just there's so much writing on this, and and you really can find a make or break type of situation, in these mid-year transfers.
Yeah. It's true.
Absolutely. So I don't know if this is true, but according to the emailer that we got from our compliance people, there is a day gap. So there's a dead period Monday, 12/9 to 12/13. That's for finals. Well, I guess that's our finals. Um, Saturday the 14th is open. And then the NCAA dead period starts on the 15th through January 1st. So we actually have a day that we can stuff in. Get right in there.
Just
Saturday the 14th, come
bring
on in.
bring 10 of them in,
Right. Let's go, guys. Come
go
on.
through the processing, get them off
Yep.
campus, hand them the papers.
Right. Let's go. Wheel and deal. I got 4 days before everybody vacates the premise.
Oh man. Yeah, it's
Oh,
boy.
crazy.
Yeah,
It's just crazy.
I worked at a place where the the sprints coach did not leave campus in December, and he was relentless. And there was a committee that met like 2 or 3 times a year. And
Yeah.
and he would bring those cases, and there were special cases, and he would have to vouch for those kids
Mhm.
in front of that committee.
Risky game.
Can't speak a lick of English? Yeah, but we can cover that. We can get an interpreter. Oh, okay. How fast does the kid run? Well, he was at the Olympics last year. Oh, okay. Let's
Must
get
say,
it done.
like you know what any of those answers mean.
Yeah.
You know, and he would literally win championships based on what he could do in December.
Yeah.
Like it was what would put him over the top was what he would accomplish in December while everybody was on
Winding
vacation.
down.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. You know. So I don't know, man. It's going to be an ongoing discussion. And yeah, we'll see how this goes.
Well, that's our cue to wrap it up. We've dove into a couple pools this evening. I think good ones at that. Great
Mhm.
conversation tonight, gentlemen. So,
Can we slightly irritate you for a second?
uh-oh.
Governor,
Uh-oh.
the latest updates for the CFP.
Oh,
Oh,
goodness
boy.
gracious. Let me go ahead and turn off my headphones. Jeez.
Dude, you got to get involved.
No, I'm protesting. I am protesting. Look, I'm about to protest the NFL too. The way the Niners hurt
Hey,
them numbers.
hey. Oh, listen.
Golly.
Oh, you know what? You know what? I'm glad Chewy brought that up. Now we're a little understaffed tonight, but I'd say, at this moment, all that laughing y'all was doing about my way too early Super Bowl predictions is looking pretty
Oh,
damn
Lord.
good.
Here
Oh
we
my
go.
gosh.
Just saying, look, your boy looking pretty good right now.
No one would have ever thunk.
Oh, goodness.
Detroit Buffalo, baby. Don't say I didn't tell you.
The most
Absolutely ridiculous.
least watched Super Bowl in history.
I'm gonna watch it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that matters.
All right, so what we have Oregon at number 1, Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4, Indiana 5, Notre Dame 6, Alabama 7, Miami 8, Ole Miss 9, Georgia 10, Tennessee 11, Boise State 12.
Here, I'll throw you the fun I've had with this week. It's twofold.
Well, did you see the asterisks?
Yes.
Tennessee would be the first team out.
Yes.
Since number 14, BYU is projected to earn an automatic bid as the 5th highest ranked conference champion.
That's right. Rightfully so. So here's the fun I'm having with this, because again, this particular version of college football is a very, very petty game. It's tailor-made for your boy. First of all, much like the residue from our election, I am thoroughly entertained about how many people don't understand the way this is played.
Yeah.
Like, why are so many people confused? Guys, it's not that complicated. Like, all you gotta do is read. I don't understand how little singular numbers are confusing the masses of people. It's not that complicated. So get past it or go back to arithmetic school. I don't know. But there's way too many dummies with way too much energy just because you can't understand basic stuff. Now, you don't have to agree with the rankings. That's fine. We all disagree with the rankings, but you shouldn't be confused as to what you're looking at. It's not hard. The second thing that I am currently in the middle of just enjoying is the utter outrage over the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers. And I mean outrage. Oh, the South, and remember, I'm an SEC graduate, is losing their mind. They are losing their mind at the prospect that when Ohio State beats Indiana this weekend, and they will, the Indiana's still going to get in because they're only going to have one loss.
Right.
Yes, that's exactly right. I don't want to hear about your 3 and 4 loss SEC teams because your schedule is oh so tough. There's no evidence that your schedule is all that tough. I don't know what to tell you. Like, get past it, play better football, stop losing games because you're not getting that extra team in. Isn't 4 enough? You need 5? Really? Like, nah. And I don't care which brand gets bounced. I don't care. Last week, Georgia was on the chopping block. Cool. This week, Tennessee's on the chopping block. Cool. It is what it is. Indiana don't win all their games. They're going to lose one to Ohio State. Now, if Ohio State beats them by like 40, then I might listen. But I don't think that's going to happen. So get past it. The Hoosiers are going to the top 12. Get over it.
Amen to that.
Where are we? Country are we in?
I have nothing to say. That is those are facts.
Okay.
For me right now, I am rooting and I'm hoping that it is a BYU Colorado Big 12 championship game. And yeah, I can't wait. You know, it's been a fun time being a Colorado Buffalo supporter. I'm enjoying it. And the fact that, I mean, even Arizona State picked to finish last in the Big 12. They're like, I'm sitting 8-2. What about you?
Hey, you know, these Pac-12 teams then went to these new homes and
That's
seem
right.
to be
That's
doing
right.
quite well.
Yeah, they're doing quite well.
Oh,
And you know what?
my.
I am here for the Colorado BYU matchup. I am.
Yep.
Y'all, those who are on the Dion Colorado bandwagon, just hope it doesn't end like it did in Jackson State. Because them championship games was an issue. So listen, all jokes aside, Colorado's had a very good year. Travis Hunter should be the Heisman winner, but I'm sure they'll find a way to screw that up. All right. They're playing good football right now.
They are.
Now, they have yet to live up to the standard that the coach said they were going to do.
Yeah.
So I am waiting on that standard to be accomplished and then standing ovation. Because as a person who put things out in the ether before they happened and delivered, nah, you put it out there, dominate, championships, win it all. That's what you said. I didn't say that. That's what you said. So I want to see it. And the first step to doing that is to beat the Mormons in the Big 12 title game.
That's right.
Can't do that. You're not going to be sitting in the room to get a chance to dominate and win a championship. So I'm here for
it.
Is that enough for you, True? Is that enough?
College football. Stupid.
Hey, Chewy, the Horned Frogs shall rise.
They shall.
At some point, maybe.
They will. They will.
Oh my gosh.
No, maybe.
No. Well, on that note,
take some of that good, what do they call it? Donor money.
Oh.
Y'all should have a lot of it.
No, we spend it going to these football games that we lose.
Oh boy. No. You gotta buy you a quarterback or something.
Something.
DJ's gonna be available. They gave DJ an extra year. Go get DJ. Oh my gosh. Not really. Like don't really.
Don't do that. All right. Well, definitely great conversations tonight, gentlemen. Glad to do this with you another day. But we gotta go. It's time for bed. So Everyone have a great week. We'll see each other next week. Bye.